Man, I can't wait to watch this movie. Oh no, the credits are rolling.
Earlier this week, we noticed that War Dogs, a movie with Jonah Hill, was trending. And War Dogs was a good movie, but it was a little deceptive, I would say, because I convinced my wife we should watch it because it was a comedy. I assure you it is not a comedy. It's based off true events, and it was alright.
I overlooked this movie when it was in theaters, and I still believe waiting was the right call. However, when I noticed that it had been released on Netflix, I knew that the right time to watch this movie was now. And let me tell you, it was worth the wait. War Dogs, which is the title of the movie and also the term for the protagonists and what they're doing, war dogs are people that profit off of war by selling various goods to the government. More specifically, they're not large organizations. They're small groups, small individuals and units that sell goods to the government to make a profit. And a term you may be more familiar with in relation to that is arms dealer, which is definitely basically what they are doing in this movie. Now, our two protagonists were best friends way back in the day, in middle school. And now they sell weapons and munitions to the United States military. How did they get here? Well, Ephraim got into the business thanks to his uncle, but he left to start his own business after we'll call it a financial dispute. Packouse is a licensed massage therapist at the start of the movie, and then one fateful day occurs, as it often happens in movies, at a funeral, which changed the course of his life forever. Ephraim was there, and he wasn't attending the funeral because he actually cared about this guy. He's attending the funeral because he had hoped to run into Packouse, which he did. The logic behind there is kind of iffy, but we'll continue. The two take a very eye-opening ride, or car ride, to find a drug dealer to get some of that puff feel good, if you know what I'm saying. And then the plot really picks up from there. Packouse agrees to work with Ephraim because Ephraim is making buku dollars, the big bucks, as the young people say these days. And Ephraim teaches him everything he needs to know about the business. And the two find this deal that they're pursuing, and it's called the Beretta deal, as they call it in the movie, because they're selling Berettas. Now, the Beretta deal goes south, and the two have to travel to Jordan to fix everything, but then they end up taking a road trip to Baghdad from there, quite literally gun running. And after that adventure, they successfully close the Beretta deal. They return home. They get a first-class ticket thanks to the United States military, and they return home much richer than they were before. That alone could have been just the entire movie, but we're only like halfway through at this point, and I'll speed this up. A new deal pops up that these two are interested in, and it's a big one. As they say, we're not looking at crumbs here. We're looking at the whole pie. The Afghan deal is what they call it. And it's worth $300 million. They cannot pass this up. Right? It is huge, as a certain orange man would call it. So they meet up with a shady arms dealer who says he can fill this ridiculous order. But the catch is that they bought Chinese ammo, banned Chinese ammunition, and they're trying to sell this to the government, but they can't sell. The government banned Chinese ammunition, so what do? They have to repack it, so they repack it. Is that legal? Of course it's not. Definitely 100% not legal. But when you've made a deal with the devil, you follow through, alright? Now Ephraim, he starts to get really greedy here, and then everything falls apart. And I would love to say that this is one of the movie's major problems, major, plot holes. Like, a normal person just wouldn't do that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But unfortunately, this movie is based on real life events, and that actually happened. But speaking about problems with the movie.
Now, when I said this movie was alright earlier, it did have some things that really bugged me. And like Titus was saying, it is based off of a true story. So, I mean, while some events may be embellished, for the most part, it's a relatively intact story. However, in the movie sense, it didn't make a lot of sense, especially between the main character and his girlfriend / wife, significant other. They have a kid together, and, he tells them, I'm going to start selling satin sheets, high-end sheets to the American troops, but he's actually gun running. And he decides to tell her that he's selling the sheets to make her feel better. And no, it comes out that he's running guns. And so she's like, I'm not cool with that, but I get why you did it. And so then he gets caught up in lie after lie. And so she goes, I'm leaving you until you can be honest. And basically, when he decides to be honest, he comes in and goes, yeah, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I just got almost killed by a bunch of Albanian gangsters, which wasn't even the full truth, that it was basically a drug lord, a gun drug lord, essentially, who is a terrorist in the United States on a watch list, not even allowed to be in the state. And he decides, no, I think it's a good idea if maybe, just maybe, I forgive you. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I had just had a child, which I actually did just have a child, a few months ago. If there was somebody like that in my life, that is a danger to my child. You need to get away from me. So, I mean, really, that was the major big problem. A few of the other problems were things that could definitely be overlooked because Titus and I are like best friends. So we immediately went to, well, we wouldn't do that if we were best friends. Like, we wouldn't try to undercut this guy. We're making tons of money. But not everybody thinks like that. And not all friendships are like that. But overall, this movie was probably a 6 out of 10. I wouldn't be upset if I had seen it in the theaters, but I wouldn't rewatch it. And I'm definitely not going to look to be buying a copy to have on my shelf for rainy days.
If you've got a movie you want us to review, let us know. Leave a comment, reach out to us through social media, and if you're feeling really generous, check us out on Patreon, where you can guarantee that we will review your movie. All the links can be found in the link tree in the description of this video. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we will see you the next time the credits roll.